All right. Well, as everybody has probably heard in the crypto sector right now, the Ethereum ETF has been approved. Kind of a surprise to a lot of people. It took a long time to get the Bitcoin ETF approved, and then it hasn't been that long, a matter of months. And now Ethereum has been approved. Now, we'll go into what that means and what you can do, but just thinking off the top of my head, what's next? Because the price has already been priced in for Ethereum for the ETF. It's rose a little bit, but over the last couple months, it's rose quite a bit.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out what ETF will be next, then now's the time to buy before they get it up. If you had to guess, Ryan, would you say Solana?
I think that's what everybody's saying. Which doesn't mean that's the case, but that seems to be the favorite.
That's what I would guess, but I also think at some point they're going to bundle it up, VOO style, and just do like a bundle of the top crypto, maybe the top 10, kind of the way you buy into the NASDAQ or the Fortune 500 or whatever, like maybe an ETF that has just the top 10 cryptos and they just
it's really hard for me to wrap my head around, because 2 days ago crypto was a complete scam and only drug users use it and this and that, and now the Bitcoin spot ETF is the largest ETF launch in history. It's like $17 billion in the first 2 months or month or something.
And that's why they went, oh,
right, exactly.
Oh,
exactly. So now the ETH ETF, like how that thing unfolded was Gensler keeping it close to his chest because of the shit that got somebody released early information on the spot Bitcoin ETF. And that, or like at the last minute, somebody came down, Biden gets a hold of Gensler and says, hey, I'm getting my ass kicked by this younger generation. They want cryptocurrency.
Right.
You will pass this fucking ETH ETF.
Right.
Like,
which makes me
what
think,
the hell happened?
Yeah, which makes me think there's probably some more to come before November, or else they would have held it till right at the very end. But yeah, this is what people want. And after the success of the Bitcoin launch, I think all of these funds are like, hey, this is where the money is. Money right now, investing right now is boring. Interest rates are high. It's hard to make money anywhere. And then they open up this Bitcoin ETF only for computer nerds and guys who live in their basement and, pay with magical internet money. And then all of a sudden, $17 billion dumps in at the rate of, $300-400 million a day for 2 months. And they went, wait a minute, I didn't realize there was that much money in it. What's next? I mean, they literally went, what's next? As fast as they could. How about Ethereum? That's got just as much. One of the things that they had to nip off the butt of the Ethereum is Ethereum has the ability to stake it. So one of the best parts about Ethereum is almost anywhere that you hold Ethereum, you can stake Ethereum. And if you stake it, then it becomes yield bearing. And people were really hoping that the Ethereum ETF would be yield bearing.
For sure.
But because of the terminology, I don't know how it all works, but because securities and blah, 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 they couldn't do that. So one of the things that got it passed as soon as it was is they just took that out. They just said, if they're holding the spot ETF, it cannot bear interest, at least at this point. You can only buy it and hold it. And just like a spot, you got to have the physical Ethereum in the account if you're holding an ETF. So they didn't want to risk putting it onto any sort of a yield farm or anything like that. So it won't be earning interest like people were hoping, but it will be available to be purchased in the traditional finance, in IRAs, in 457s, in 401ks, stuff like that, which is good. And like we talked about, it's early in the year and the election's still coming towards the end of the year. So Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF, both of them are out before summer, which means what's coming in early fall? What's the big deal? Either interest bearing or something's going to open up. There's going to be one more big thing, I'm thinking.
Got to keep the hype train going.
Got to keep the hype train going, pulling into the election for sure. And that's Joe Biden and the Democrats, literally shot for shot. Trump comes out and says, I'm going to do this. And they're like, well, we're in charge right now and we're going to do this. Look, I've given you the Ethereum ETF and then I've given you the Bitcoin ETF. And so it's exciting because as you and I, fans of the crypto industry, it's nice to have, the two parents fighting over us and, it's two Christmases. It's like, okay, well, we got the Ethereum ETF, and then you go look over at the next presidential candidate and you're like, what have you got for us?
Yeah.
So kind of nice. Yeah. And there's 8 funds that have been approved for the spot Ethereum ETF. In contrast, there were 11 Bitcoin, but 8 still gives you plenty of options. So you can find the more secure ones. You can get the ones that are a little more higher end managed, or with Bitcoin, I got the one with the lowest service fee, the lowest yearly transaction fee or whatever. So I'll be looking for the same thing with Ethereum. Although when you said that I put some of my Roth IRA into Bitcoin, that's not exactly true because I didn't put some of it. I put all of it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I thought
I'm 100% in the Bitcoin ETF. So I might have to break. It's done so good, because we bought in a little less than 50 when it first went, and it went up and then it went down, but now it's back up. And so by the time the Ethereum ETF actually gets tradable, I'm very up in the Bitcoin, and I might break off a little piece and get some Ethereum as well.
We probably ought to mention too, if you're watching this and you're not aware of this, that if you buy the ETFs, you don't actually own the currency. So if you were to sell that ETF share, you're getting dollars back or whatever it is, the currency you're using to buy. So, crypto and Bitcoin nuts, you hear the phrase, if you don't own the keys, you don't own or that's not, how's it go?
Not your keys, not your wallet or something like that.
Not your keys, not your wallet. So it's awesome for IRAs and stuff like that, and completely really good investments from that standpoint. But it's also in the traditional market where you can buy these currencies outside of them and hold them yourself to be separated from, the dollar or whatever it is, if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah, which is a great call and a great point. And just so let me be specific, when I say I'm all in on the Bitcoin ETF, I mean I'm all in on Bitcoin ETF with the money that otherwise would not be able to be used on Bitcoin regular money, especially with Ethereum. I have more Ethereum than I have Bitcoin in Coinbase because I can stake it. So I personally like staking it, but there are certain things you can do with Roth IRA and retirement accounts that maybe your company has that you can't just cash that out and go to Coinbase and buy crypto with it. So it is nice to, with the money that I'm only allowed to use in traditional finance, I now have a vehicle that I can put that into, and any money that I have outside of traditional finance or safe finance, I can put that into, Coinbase and use the way I see fit. And with Ethereum, I do like to stake it. That's one of the benefits of Ethereum is it is yield bearing. So it doesn't just go up in price, but I'm also earning a little piece all the time.
It's bullish no matter how you look at it. It still blows my mind that they passed it, especially with all the arguments of, is it a security, not a security? Like leading up to it, there was no talk whatsoever. Then boom, all of a sudden they passed it. So it'll be interesting to hear, what was the story behind, were they planning on passing it this whole time, or was that, something last minute that actually came out? But the fact that it's out is a good thing, I believe. And I'm also glad that it's out so that we could move on past that too, because there is just so much stuff happening. So it's a roller coaster, man.
Yep. And last thing I have to say about this is when I checked Coinbase today, I had a pop-up and it was asking me to join, being able to get texts and stuff like that for the information on people we're getting ready to vote for and where they stand on crypto. in kind of live events, and also which politicians are pro-crypto and which ones are anti-crypto. And I thought that was interesting. I did join, and Brian Armstrong, the Coinbase guy, he tweeted out yesterday that 71 Democrats voted yes on that crypto proposition. So he said, and that was where I'd heard it, anything between the 20 and 40 Democrat range would still be considered a win, and they got 71. So they almost are probably more than doubled what they were hoping just to be considered a win. So he said this is a resounding win in the House for clear crypto rules and a complete rejection of the nonsense being spouted by those who tried to kill the technology. Voters will not forget. So this is sensible regulation of crypto, just took a big step forward. Next stop is the Senate.
Big time, man.
That's good to hear from one of the biggest centralized exchange CEOs in America. Yeah,
and not only that, the U.S. is getting on board finally. The technology and the opportunity in this country has been passing us by, and like we're finally getting on board with crypto and blockchain.